So we're here with Larime Taylor, and we checked out a really cool comic called A Voice in the Dark. So go ahead and tell us about that. What is that about?
I call it a psychological noir. It's about a young woman who has just started college, moved away from home, starting a new life, and is also becoming a serial killer.
That's always good. A good thing to have, a good skill to have. What made her want to be a serial killer? What was the cause of that?
That's actually the thing, is she's not a psychopath, she's not a sociopath, she wasn't abused as a child, didn't witness violence or anything like that. She's just always had these urges and compulsions. And she knew even from a young age, when she was very little, that it was a bad thing and you don't do that. And so she's always kept it in check and kind of lived vicariously through her imagination and reading books about serial killers and things like that until her senior year of high school, and something happens to her best friend, and her best friend tries to kill herself, and she's the one that walks in and finds her, and it just kind of makes something finally click, and she ends up killing the girl that was responsible for her friend trying to kill herself. And now that she's killed someone, she doesn't know if she can shut it back off.
So she continues to kill randomly, or does she have like a blacklist, not to promote anything with NBC?
No, she doesn't want to kill again. She doesn't want to have the urges. She knows they're wrong. She has empathy, has friends, has emotions, but it's just this driving compulsion that she has. And so she, like I said, she tries to fight it, but as fighting it is not becoming long-term sustainable, she at least tries to find ways to channel it into people that at least she might feel deserved it. I always want it to be kind of ambiguous and left up to the reader of whether that was deserved or not. But she doesn't just randomly go around killing strangers.
Just for kicks.
She has daydreams about it. She'll fantasize sitting in class, and she'll be sitting there in class, during a lecture, and the girl next to her will say something stupid and bigoted, and she'll turn and stab her in the forehead with her pen, and then get called on by the professor and snap out of it and realize it never happened. But then next time she looks at the girl, she still sees the pen sticking out of her forehead. So it's got a bit of black comedy to it like that, where it's kind of quirky. And so she'll regularly daydream, doing it, and then snap out of it and realize it didn't happen. Yeah, that's
pretty cool. So talk about the different characters that are in the comic. Do any of the other characters kind of notice her behaviors and kind of you kind of need to go get help kind of thing?
This early on, no. She seems pretty normal to everybody. She really is kind of quiet and shy, so it doesn't have a temper and yell at people and freak out all the time. So most people around her think she's fairly normal. She comes from a normal family. She goes to an all-women's college, lives in the dorms. So the cast of characters are actually mostly female. It's a very female-driven comic. I don't draw cheesecake TNA type women. I draw realistic looking women, different bodies.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's why I was attracted to the front cover, because I know sometimes some comics, they put it all out there, and then where's the story? And this seems really interesting.
It's a very racially diverse cast, and it's very sexuality and gender identity diverse. The main character is biracial. Her dad's an immigrant from Ghana, and her mother's white suburbanite. And then one of her roommates is Hispanic, and one of her roommates is a blonde sorority girl from Beverly Hills. And then she has a punk goth roommate, and her dad, her dad's side of the family, who are black. Her uncle is a homicide cop, and and
that makes the story more juicy.
And he's an openly gay homicide cop. Yeah, and so there's a lot of diversity in it, because I grew up in very racially diverse areas, and my best friend in high school was the only openly gay kid at our school, and this was in 1992 when you didn't do that. So I just kind of write things I know and grew up around and live with all my life, and there's just not a lot of that in comics anyway, so it's good to see it.
So that's from your personal life of all this diversity, that's where you bring in the new comic, and you make it a little scary, a little bit funny.
Right, exactly. The characters all have little bits or pieces of people I know, or things, from my own experiences or from me. I have to kind of try to find something about every character that I can relate to on some level. Yeah, so that's where all the diversity and everything comes from. It's not like I went down a checklist of, okay, well, I have to have the black one and the Asian one and the, and
The very slutty one.
Yeah, exactly. But the initial concept was it was going to be a parody of the slasher genre that I grew up with in the 80s and 90s. And in those movies, the ethnic girl's the first one to die. So I decided in my story she'd be the sole survivor.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We don't have to be the first one killed because we saw Jason up there, or this guy who is kind of like Jason. But anyways, where can listeners and readers find your books and your upcoming projects and all that?
It's put out by Top Cow Image. It's Voice in the Dark. You can get issue 1 for free at the Top Cow website. It's also the all 7 issues and the trade that just came out are available at Comixology or the Image web store. And I think here, just after the convention, end of July, they're going to be doing a special on Comixology where they're doing the digital trade for like $5 or $6.99 instead of the normal $19.99. So they're really helping to push the book.
Larime Taylor, thank you for your time.